Part 99. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 982. Chapter 982, Kill the Chairman of Founder Financial Company. Standing next to Zhang Yan was a young professional woman. She looked at Zhang Yan and Suchen in surprise and said with a smile, "Director Zhang, do you know him?" Zhang Yan smiled and said, he is a neighbor, and he is also from our company." At this time, she seemed to have nothing to do with the word killer. She looks like a truly professional woman with a bit of a warm heart. But at this time, Suchen felt a little embarrassed. After all, he came to apply for a job, which meant that he was not yet an employee of Founder Financial Company. Suchen didn't blush at that moment and just responded casually. When Zhang Yan and her female colleague left, the female colleague handed Zhang Yan a list. "Director Zhang, this is the list of people to be interviewed today. I have screened them all in advance." "Okay, I'll prepare right away. You can bring someone over for the interview in 10 minutes. Zhang Yan acted very capable. She didn't look like a powerful killer at all. Suchen came to the floor address specified in the interview information and found that there were several other interviewers waiting here like him. But these people, his mentality was not as calm as that of Suchen. After all, Suchen came here to do a mission to kill people. And these interviewers came here to ask for jobs, so they naturally felt a little more nervous. "Is this brother also here for an interview?" "My name is Chen Hao, brother. Which position are you interviewing for?" A tall young man took the initiative to greet Suchen and inquire about the military situation. Several other interviewees also looked over quickly. After all, it would be better if he could know his future competitors in advance before the interview. Make preparations. However, Suchen looked calm and a little arrogant. At that moment, he just said indifferently, "Well, I just came here to try my luck." Suchen's answer and expression were taken as a precaution by everyone. After all, no one wants to reveal too much about themselves to competitors. Founder Financial Company is also a large group in the super first-tier city, and it is a listed group. Being able to work here, in addition to high wages, also represents a kind of status and dignity. Suchen found a seat and sat down, closed his eyes and rested. At the same time, 9527-1 and 9527-1 and 9527-1 were carried in his pocket. 9527-2 had already flown out, and quickly approached the opponent according to the target position given by the system. After waiting for a few minutes, someone came to inform that everyone could go in for the interview. On Suchen's side, there were two A-level battle pets of the 9527 series. Has arrived next to the chairman of Founder Financial Company. He is lurking 1 meter away from the other party and is motionless. He will only wait for Suchen to complete the special requirements of this task and leave the company before taking action. As for 4399 this mina, he left him on the 32nd floor of this building. It happened to be less than 100 meters away from where he was interviewing. In this way, Suchen could rely on the radar skill of 4399 to have a super long range of 100,000 meters. Control range. It can also control the 9527 series of battle pets in the most convenient way. Even if the mission target exceeds his own 100-meter control range, there is no need to worry. Walking into the interview room, I found that there were already 2 interviewers sitting here. In front of the table, Suchen and several other interviewees were arranged to sit on the chairs opposite. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 983. Chapter 983. The chief interviewer is actually her. Careless. In other words, this interview is an open interview, rather than calling people in one by one for individual interviews. Several interviewers were a little nervous when they saw this kind of battle. Except Suchen. Well, because he always observed the mission target from the perspective of his two battle pets, he always seemed a little absent-minded. This situation was also noticed by the two interviewers. In other words, the interview has actually started since these interviewers entered the room. Suchen's absent-minded look immediately gave the two interviewers the impression that they were bad after all. After all, this means that he doesn't care about this interview or the two interviewers. No matter what, it means that Suchen doesn't know how to respect. Such people are disliked wherever they go. Of course, even if Suchen knew that the other party had started the interview, he wouldn't care. After all, he didn't really come here to work, he was just going through the motions. If he really wants to pass the interview, he has to say sorry to the other person and I don't want to work here anymore. If you deliberately perform poorly, you can avoid some trouble and just leave with the 500 people who were rewarded by the bounty mission. Next, the two interviewers began to ask several interviewers to make some basic introductions. After one round, several interviewees also had a basic understanding of each other. Suchen's side originally had the best conditions, after all, the major and school matched each other. But because he did not apply for the job, he behaved the worst and most casually. This further made the impression of the two interviewers even worse. Who is this person? If you are so unwilling to be interviewed, why do you want to participate? Who screened him? I really want to declare him eliminated directly. Forget it, we are just doing a preliminary understanding and fixed process. Who will stay in the end depends on Director Zhang. Look, Director Zhang is here. At this moment, a tall, beautiful young woman walked in on high heels. Among the interviewers, several male interviewers immediately stared at her. Is this our real interviewer this time? So beautiful. I feel like I've fallen. Being a colleague with such an interviewer, how will I have the energy to work in the future? Among the several interviewers, only one female interviewer, and Suchen, acted relatively calmly. This actually made the two interviewers look at Suchen with admiration. This guy looks cynical, but at least he has a high resistance to women. Little did they know that Suchen was just not thinking about it. Secondly, when Suchen raised his head and looked over casually, he suddenly discovered that Director Zhang who walked in was actually the beautiful neighbor who knocked on his door. I go. Such a coincidence. When the two interviewers saw Suchen looking at Director Zhang in shock, their impression of Suchen became even worse again. I was careless, this guy did not disappoint me, he was still so bad that I wanted to kick him out. Why is he so resistant to female sex? He obviously didn't notice it before. Now that I notice it, those eyes are wider than others. Director Zhang and Zhang Yan also raised their eyebrows when they saw Suchen while scanning the interviewers. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 984. Chapter 984, I passed the interview because of my connections. It's you. Hearing Zhang Yan's voice and sight, the two interviewers looked at Suchen and then at Zhang Yan. Director Zhang, do you know each other? Zhang Yan smiled and sat down at the interviewer's seat. She looked at Suchen and said with interest, I just became a neighbor today. Oh, neighbor. The two interviewers' eyes flashed. My mind started to turn. No wonder this guy has been cynical since he entered the company. It turns out that Director Zhang is his neighbor. The other interviewers also looked at Suchen in shock. Some even showed disdain or envy in their eyes. But everyone's eyes became dim. It turned out to be a related household, no wonder he was so cool. It's over now, I've been preparing for so long, it's useless. This damn well-connected person can actually be a neighbor to such a beautiful female director. I really don't know where he got his luck. Zhang Yan herself was very surprised to meet Suchen here. She looked at Suchen with a smile. Suchen also looked at Zhang Yan slightly embarrassed. He told Zhang Yan before that he was an employee of Founder Financial Company. It was impossible not to be embarrassed when Zhang Yan exposed the lie to his face. Zhang Yan smiled and gave Suchen a look. It was like saying, since you said you were colleagues with me before, now, I have fulfilled your wish and become colleagues with me. Seeing Zhang Yan's look, Suchen knew that something bad was going to happen. He quickly stood up and said, I'm sorry, I have something urgent at home. I won't attend this interview. Goodbye. Just as she was getting up, Zhang Yan said with a smile, it's okay. If you have something to do at home, go first. Just remember to come to work tomorrow. Suchen. This is really something I can't avoid even if I think about it. What are you afraid of? There is a reason why Zhang Yan did this. When we met before, I felt that there was something wrong with Suchen. He felt like he was being protected and oppressed by superior people around him. Now, although this feeling has faded a bit, it still exists. This made her realize that Suchen was not simple. Therefore, based on the principle of caution, she decided to temporarily restrain Suchen by her side. In this way, you can observe Suchen well at home or in the company. Identify whether this guy has any plans for you. Once you find that something is not good for you, immediately understand him. For Zhang Yan, who is already a high-level killer, this kind of thing is just a snap of her fingers. Well, the only trouble is to first figure out what the feeling of being protected by an expert is behind him. If there is really an expert, then I will be in danger. Zhang Yan looked at Suchen, although her expression was smiling. But in his heart, something else was going on. But the two interviewers next to him didn't know the situation. Seeing that Director Zhang was interested in Suchen, he immediately smiled and agreed the director is the director, and you can see the real talent at a glance. Yes, Xiao Su is not only the right professional, but also a good school. He is exactly the talent our company urgently needs. I think Xiao Su's treatment should be based on the highest level for those in the probation period. Yes, the probation period doesn't have to be as troublesome as 3 months. After all, we all believe in Xiao Su's school reputation. I think 1 month is enough. What do you think, Director Zhang? Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 985. Chapter 985. No clues can be found. Zhang Yan smiled and nodded. That's it. The two interviewers immediately responded with a smile. He even encouraged Suchen. Xiao Su, do your best. Don't live up to Director Zhang's expectations of you. Yes. We are very optimistic about you. Suchen. Other interviewees. When Zhang Yan and the two interviewers left, several interviewers couldn't help but snorted a few times, glanced at Suchen, and left angrily. Suchen was left shaking his head helplessly. As he left, he ordered two 9527 series battle pets to start taking action. At this time, the chairman of Founder Financial Group was still hugging Xiaomi tenderly. Suddenly, two mosquitoes with silvery spots on their bodies flashed past his temples. Then the chairman fell directly into Xiaomi's arms. Suchen, on the other hand, had already left the building in his own car with his pet army. About 5 minutes later, Xiaomi's scream attracted the attention of the entire Founder Financial Group. After another 5 minutes, the police arrived. Seeing the same death method, Zhou Yuanshan's criminal investigation team immediately took over the case here. Zhang Yan, after learning that the chairman of the group died suddenly, rushed to the scene. After seeing the tiny red dots at both ends of the chairman's solar system, a pair of eyebrows knitted together. What method is this? Why have I never seen it? The method of the master who was intercepted by Louis R before was also different. Could it be that, this super first-tier city has another strong person? Zhang Yan and other onlookers were driven away by the police. They returned to their office, frowning and analyzing secretly. On the other side, when Zhou Yuanshan and others rushed to the scene, they immediately controlled all the surveillance videos around the building, and quickly organized staff to analyze the video. In order to find the flight path of Suchen's pet, this time they also updated the equipment and used the most advanced computers. Team leader. Not a trace of the tiny gray shadow to be found. 10 minutes later, two staff members raised their heads and said, "What? Can't find it," Zhou Yuanshan and others frowned. Is the surveillance video analyzed wrong? Try checking surveillance videos from other places. Captain, we have analyzed all the surveillance videos within a kilometer radius, including all the surveillance videos around the deceased, and none of the small gray shadows in the previous cases have appeared. Hearing the staff's answer, Zhou Yuanshan and others were stunned on the spot. How come? But the cause of death of the deceased was obviously the same as that of the previous real estate developer. Could it be, Zhou Yuanshan suddenly said, the method of committing crimes has become more advanced? Can he avoid our surveillance? After hearing Zhou Yuanshan's guess, several other division captains also nodded secretly. It is possible, but it is not ruled out that there may be other reasons. Continue to search the scene and don't miss any clues. Zhou Yuanshan stood there and pondered. After thinking for a while, he asked, by the way, what is the trajectory of Suchen's actions? Reporting to Captain Zhou, Suchen happened to be here today for an interview with Founder Financial Company, and it seemed that he had been hired by Founder Financial Company. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 986. Chapter 986, because I like him, is this okay? Is he here too? Is it such a coincidence? Zhou Yuanshan and several other captains immediately became energetic. Immediately call up all Suchen's action trajectories and corresponding times. Yes. Next. Zhou Yuanshan and others focused on analyzing the information from Suchen. After analyzing it, everyone frowned. Weird, this guy looks like he's really applying for the job. He doesn't seem to have anything to do with the case. Yes, although he participated in the interview with Founder Financial Company, he did not have any direct contact with the chairman of Founder Financial Company. From beginning to end, he just moved around the interview conference hall. When the interview was over, he left directly. Zhou Yuanshan thought for a while and then ordered, "Please pull out the surveillance video of Suchen and the others participating in the interview." Everyone analyzed the video of Suchen's interview again. Huh? There's something wrong with this guy. Several other interviewees are more or less nervous. Why is he the only one who seems a little indifferent? There was also a problem with the main interviewer. Based on Suchen's performance, the two assistant interviewers were obviously very dissatisfied with Suchen. However, with just a few words from the main interviewer, Suchen successfully eliminated several other interviewers. Successfully hired. There are indeed doubts here. Why not call Suchen and the main interviewer over to inquire? Zhou Yuanshan and the two division captains immediately waved their hands and said, "Don't disturb Suchen first. You can call the chief interviewer over to ask about the situation first." Yes. As for Suchen, everyone has the same attitude. That is, there are serious suspicions about Suchen and these serial cases. But before getting direct evidence, he must not be alarmed. Firstly, so as not to alert the snake. Secondly, it was Suchen who was responsible for these cases. It was hard to tell the pros and cons. If he were to be touched without direct evidence, it would probably cause great turmoil in society. Soon, Zhang Yan, who was tall and beautiful, walked in. How many of you want to see me? Zhang Yan doesn't understand why the chairman died inexplicably and what the police want to ask her about. Although she is secretly a powerful killer, this case really has nothing to do with her. However, her own psychological quality is also extremely strong. So when I came here and faced a group of police officers, I didn't look at all panicked. May I ask why you want to hire Suchen? The police officer got straight to the point and asked directly. Zhang Yan raised her eyebrows. Does my hiring Suchen have anything to do with this case? Zhou Yuanshan said in a deep voice, you just need to answer our questions. Zhang Yan smiled because he is my new neighbor and because I like him. Is this reason okay? Zhou Yuanshan and others. Zhang Yan couldn't ask anything here, so she let her go soon. After Zhang Yan left, Zhou Yuanshan suddenly said, based on my intuition, this woman seems to be not simple. A division captain smiled and said, yes, not simple, the beauty is a bit too much. Go. There are a bunch of cases piled up here, and you still have the energy to make a joke. Several division captains were a little unimpressed by Zhou Yuanshan's sudden intuition. But Zhou Yuanshan silently looked at the direction Zhang Yan left and took note of this woman. At the same time, he always felt a little uneasy. He always felt there seemed to be something staring at him around him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 987. Chapter 987 Mission accomplished. Monitor. Zhou Yuanshan shook his head and said to himself, is it because I have been too tired recently and am a little suspicious? On an indoor green plant less than 50 meters away from him, a mosquito with silver spots on its body was quietly lying under the green leaves, monitoring all the surrounding situations. This mosquito is codenamed 9527-3 and is the third mosquito besides the 2 mosquitoes on the mission. It was Suchen who stayed here specifically. Now that he has discovered that the police are targeting him, then he will naturally keep a close eye on the police. See what else the other party can use to hold on to you. On the way back in his Wuling Hongguang S, Suchen heard the system prompt again. Ding. Congratulations on successfully completing D-level bounty mission, Chairman of Founder Financial Company. Mission rating, perfect. Points earned, 10 points. Your current total points are, 10 points. Ding. Congratulations on successfully obtaining the reward amount, 5 million. Ding. Because you completed this task perfectly, you will receive an extra reward, 1.5 million. All of a sudden, Suchen received 6.5 million yuan. The speed of making money is really exciting. But compared with the 80 to 90 million yuan spent on evolutionary pets, it is still not enough. As Suchen drove, he passed the money left at the scene. 9527-3 Pay attention to the actions of the police. But so far, it seems that this operation is perfect. The police can no longer capture the flight path of the 9527 series mosquitoes. This time, even if I appear around the crime scene, the police will not any way to connect himself with this case. However, Zhou Yuanshan and others called Zhang Yan over for questioning, which was a bit beyond his expectation. This shows that these guys still doubt me. Well, I have to be more careful next time. Although he is now being watched by the police, it also gives him an unprecedented sense of excitement. This feeling of fighting wits and courage with the opponent makes him somewhat like the process of doing bounty tasks. But Zhou Yuanshan suddenly those words made Suchen suspicious of Zhang Yan again. This Zhou Yuanshan and Captain Zhou are really monsters. Their intuition is so powerful. There is indeed something wrong with this Zhang Yan. It seems that a battle pet should be arranged to monitor her. Suchen did what he thought of. He immediately arranged for 9527-1 to go to Zhang Yan's location, and he went to a nearby restaurant to eat. When 9527-1 arrived at Zhang Yan's office, there was a sudden knock on the door. "Please come in." The door was opened, and a girl with a delicate figure and beautiful appearance walked in. Suchen saw this girl through 9527-1's vision and raised his eyebrows. Why is it her?" Suchen still has some impression of this girl. It was the beautiful girl he met when he was killing the foreign playboy. At that time, this beautiful girl was the most beautiful girl in the world, and she was almost killed by the foreign playboy. The young man got the hook. Suddenly, Suchen's war pet 9527 killed this playboy instantly. Unexpectedly, he met her again here. It seems that this girl is not simple either. Suchen thought in his heart. "Master, are you looking for me?" The beautiful girl seemed to be very familiar with Zhang Yan. When she came in, she found a seat and poured herself some water. But Zhang Yan seemed unwilling to say more. She seemed a little absent-minded. She glanced around and said, "Take a rest first. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion." Author, 7 years. Chapter 988. Chapter 988 News about the Killer World Competition. The beautiful girl drank the water and asked curiously, "Master, what do you want from me?" "Next month is the annual competition in the Killer World. Do we want to participate?" Suchen was shocked when he heard the beautiful girl's words. "I go. Participate in the Killer World competition? Are these two both killers?" Suchen had long felt that something was wrong with Zhang Yan. It turns out that this guy is really a killer. A killer actually works as the director of the Human Resources Department of a large financial company. This is really awesome. He is multi-talented. But so is this beautiful girl. Killer, this shocks Suchen even more. Did this beautiful girl deliberately seduce the playboy when she killed him last time? And then try to kill the playboy? And then, was I accidentally cut off? I'll go. Thinking of this, Suchen suddenly realized. This beautiful girl calls Zhang Yan her master, so they can't escape because they are killers. Danger, too dangerous. I have to work with these two people, and there are so many things I have to watch out for them every day. Suchen thought it would be better to escape first. Although his combat power has actually reached the peak of sea level, Zhang Yan still gave him a feeling of danger. This proves the opponent's combat power, or actual combat power, above himself. Or even if he is on the same level as himself, Suchen cannot take this risk. After all, he has a pet system and is a huge potential stock. There is no need to fight with such a dangerous person when he has not fully grown up. Mixed with women. As for the other party asking him to come to work tomorrow, haha, it's none of my business. But after the beautiful girl said this, Zhang Yan gestured with her fingers to her mouth to signal silence. The beautiful girl was surprised. He looked around. What's wrong? Are the police paying attention to us? The death of the chairman has nothing to do with us. Zhang Yan shook her head. I always feel like there are people watching me around. It's better for us to say less here. The beautiful girl nodded and stopped talking. However, she was still very shocked. After all, with the master's strength, he was unable to find the spy. The meaning contained in this was very terrifying. Suchen waited for a while, seeing that no new information was revealed, he stopped paying attention here. However, he did not remove his battle pet. Not long after, Zhang Yan and the beautiful girl left here. While Suchen was eating, he was thinking, do you want to buy a house in the city? After all, Zhang Yan actually rents next door to him, and the other party is also a powerful killer, and there are even two people. For a cautious person like Suchen, a gentleman is not standing under a dangerous wall. but he was a little curious about the Killer World competition. At that moment, something moved in his heart. System, what is the Killer World competition? Reporting back to the host, with your current killer level, you are not qualified to know this news. You will not be able to know and participate in this Killer World competition until you reach at least level C. Therefore, the host is requested to be promoted to C-level killer as soon as possible within this month. Come on, daddy. Suchen. Damn, this system can actually say such witty words, this is the first time I heard it. However, Zhang Yan's vigilance behind her still caught Suchen's attention. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 989. Chapter 989 Big Change. King Level Killer. It seems that a killer of her level has a strong ability to sense all crises. 9527-1 sent by Suchen to monitor was actually sensed by her. Although it was impossible to find the exact location of 9527-1, it allowed her to be cautious in her words and actions and not give Suchen opportunity to get more news. It seems that the newly evolved battle pets in the same 9527 series are sometimes not as good as the old battle pets. Suchen thought, wouldn't it be better if he sent 9527, a veteran battle pet? He did it immediately. He recalled 9527-1 to the pet space, and then sent 9527 to Zhang Yan's office. It didn't take long. 9527 sneak into the other party's office. Master, what happened? The beautiful girl saw that Zhang Yan's expression was much more relaxed and asked. Well, the feeling of being watched is gone. It seems that the other party has withdrawn, but this is still not a place to stay for a long time. Let's go to eat first and then go back to our new residence. Oh, by the way, we have a neighbor across the street. It's quite interesting. I'll tell you about it later. Oh? Neighbor? What neighbor would interest my master? Is he a handsome guy? The beautiful girl actually playfully made a joke about her master. Zhang Yan rolled her eyes at her apprentice angrily. What are you thinking? It's almost like being your boyfriend. You'll know when you meet him. Well, it's best to give me more information about him. I always feel that this person is a bit unusual. Suchen asked 9527 to follow Zhang Yan, never leaving. When he heard the other two talking about him, Suchen was speechless for a while. Damn you, you are really targeting me and you want to get information from me? Hey, if you can figure out my information, I'll take your last name. In the evening, Zhang Yan and her apprentice came back from dinner. Sure enough, she took her apprentice to the door of Suchen's house and knocked on the door. Suchen had known that they would do this, so he was still eating snacks in the playground outside. However, his eyes passed through 9527 and never left them. It seems that he hasn't gone home yet. Well, he will come to work in our company tomorrow, and you can see him then. Zhang Yan took the beautiful girl back to her home. After washing up, Zhang Yan turned on the computer and looked it up, and suddenly said in surprise, "Oh no. What's the matter, master?" the beautiful girl asked in surprise. Her master is a top-level killer and is well known in the country. He has always acted calmly and competently. It has been rare for more than 10 years for a beautiful girl to be startled like this. It must be something big to make her master so surprised. Zhang Yan quickly browsed the page and said, "I'm afraid there will be big changes in this killer competition." What big change? Suchen used 9527's field of vision to listen attentively. Zhang Yan looked unhappy and said, "This time, the killer competition was originally for newcomers, but this time, there were actually many veteran king-level killers. Apprentices participate." What? The apprentice of a king-level killer, the beautiful girl jumped up in surprise when she heard her master's words. No wonder she was so surprised. In the world of killers, top killers like her master are only ranked B level. And king level killers are S level the killer. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 990. Chapter 990, The Apprentice of Lord Killer actually wants to compete. That is the real killer who dominates one side. A terrifying existence who has completed S-level missions alone. And the disciples trained by such a terrifying existence are naturally no small matter. It was obviously much stronger than the apprentice trained by a B-level killer like her master. When the beautiful girl heard her master's words, she said with fear on her face, "Then shall we participate in the killer contest?" After all, the killer contest is not an ordinary game or sports event. Someone is going to die here. Anyone who doesn't have enough confidence to participate in this kind of competition is going to die. In every assassin competition, there are hundreds of participants, and only dozens of people survive in the end. It can be said that it is a flesh and blood mill full of dangers. The most dangerous thing are the killers inside, especially the terrifying top killers. After all, the human heart is the most unpredictable. The killer's heart is even more terrifying. Originally, Zhang Yan wanted her apprentice to participate in the assassin competition and then win the ranking. Looking at it now, let alone competing for rankings, it is very difficult to survive among so many king-level killer apprentices. Not only that, Zhang Yan continued. The voice was trembling. In the knowledge of this beautiful girl, she has never seen her master behave like this before. Here, even the venerable level killer disciples appeared. This is too strange, too shocking, too terrifying. What? A venerable killer apprentice, the beautiful girl's voice rose several times. What is a venerable level killer? That is a level higher than a king level killer. If a king level killer can dominate a party, then a venerable level killer, the killer is the emperor of the entire killer world. He is the ruler of killers all over the world. He has absolute and irrefutable dominance strength. Of course. The venerable killer Zhang Yan mentioned must be the venerable one from the previous term. Super killer. After all, this venerable killer is over 60 years old. Generally in the killer world, when the age reaches 40, the overall physical fitness has begun to decline. Let alone 60. In other words, this a master level killer was just a master in the past. He definitely does not have the strength of a master level now. It is hard to say whether he even has the top level strength like Zhang Yan. However, the disciples trained by the master level killers, that is naturally better than the apprentices trained by king level killers. There is no doubt about this. As for why the killer world is willing to train its own apprentices, this is also very easy to explain. After all, in the profession of killers, who has not carried countless burdens? A blood debt. When you get old and your health fails, you will naturally have to worry about enemies coming to your door. But before that, if you can train one or several apprentices who can inherit your mantle, it will naturally be of great benefit to you. Harmful. And it would be even better if his apprentice could take over his mantle and become a new king level killer, or even a venerable level killer. Therefore, every killer treats his apprentice with the utmost care. They are taught by each other. For fear that they will not learn well, they will not hide it. And this is why Zhang Yan has such a good relationship with his apprentices. After all, Zhang Yang teaches his apprentices as if they are his own daughters and teaches them with all his heart. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 991. Chapter 991 News about top skills. The beautiful girl treats Zhang Yan very kindly. In that case, Master, Do I not need to participate? The beautiful girl said with fear in her eyes. Jiang Yan thought for a while and said firmly no. You must participate. You must participate. Ah. Jiang Yan looked at the beautiful girl. If you don't participate, your name will be recorded in the killer competition. Even if your strength reaches the top level, you will no longer be able to accept S-level tasks. Because those who don't even have the guts to participate in the assassin competition are not qualified to accept S-level missions. In this way, you will lose the opportunity to be better than your master, and you will not be able to follow the achievements of your master and me. You will not be able to break through your own shackles, and you will not be able to achieve higher achievements. In addition, you don't have to worry too much even if you participate in the killer competition. Jiang Yan's expression softened. She looked at the beautiful girl and said softly, everyone who participates in the killer competition will receive a warning device. Crush the warning device, which means you have given up, and you will be rescued by veteran killers and referees outside. At the same time, contestants who have crushed the warning device cannot be killed by other contestants. Once killed, it will be regarded as breaking the rules of the killer competition. You can know the consequences without me telling you. The beautiful girl nodded. The consequences of breaking the rules of the killer competition are extremely serious, which is equivalent to being against the entire killer world. In that case, you will be hunted and wanted by the entire killer world. Even a venerable killer will face people like this who break the rules of the competition, don't mind taking action. Basically, they are trapped by heaven and have no way to go. After hearing the master's explanation, the beautiful girl nodded vigorously and said, Master, I will join the competition. And I will do my best. Jiang Yan nodded happily. You are indeed a good disciple whom I taught. On the other side, Suchen was also very shocked after hearing the conversation between the two. When he asked the system before, the system did not tell him because his level was too low. But now by monitoring Jiang Yan and the two, he learned the information about the killer competition. Suchen understood. It turns out that there are still so many ways in the killer world. And Jiang Yan suddenly sighed. It's a pity that you can't obtain the top 3 skills. I thought you could rely on them, capture the top 3 and get a top-notch technique, which will increase your chance of success in breaking through the S-level killer. The beautiful girl shook her head. It's okay, Master. Without any skills, I can definitely reach S-level with my own efforts. Jiang Yan looked at her apprentice lovingly and sighed in her heart. This apprentice of hers can be regarded as a genius in the world of killers in terms of physical fitness and talent. It's a pity that Jiang Yan's abilities are limited and she cannot give her apprentice too many resources. If she can obtain enough resources, the probability that the apprentice will be promoted to S-level and fulfill her lifelong wish will be greater. After hearing these words, Suchen's heart suddenly shook. By winning the top 3, you can get top-notch skills. Suchen's current physical fitness has been improved to the peak of C level through the effect of marrow cleansing pill. Now he only lacks one martial arts skill to break through C level and steadily reach B level. As for the assassin competition, if he can win the top 3, will get a copy of the top skills.